Hello students, we are going to do some color wheel practice today. So hopefully you've already done your monochrome strips and you're already kind of familiar with some of this paint mixing, but let's go over some basics really fast. So this is a tiny color wheel, it's not big. So I have a tiny cup of water, smaller sized, square and a round brush, probably just gonna stick with the square brush, okay? Smaller square brush, like 1/4 inch. Now, this is the most important part of not wasting precious supplies. This is a tiny amount of paint. Students tend to squirt out these massive blobs, and that's just money down the drain. This is a tiny color wheel, so we only need a little bit of paint. Now, you can always get more, but we can't put it back in the tube, okay? So let's be mindful of that. So we're gonna start with our primaries, and the whole point of this is a monochromatic color wheel. So I'm going to mix my tints with white, and then I'll mix some shades with black, okay? So I'm going to begin with red. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of charge up my brush a little bit. I want you guys to learn how to blend, okay? Just charge up your brush. And we want to be neat. We don't want to be sloppy, okay? So we don't need a lot of paint. Try to show me your best craftsmanship with staying within the lines, okay? I do want you to see my workspace, so I might zoom out a little bit. Okay, we don't want it to be thick and chunky. We want to practice good craftsmanship, putting it on as neat and precise as we can. Okay, so this is a nice, true primary red. And the beauty of paint is that if it's not correct, we can paint over it. So like I like to flip my brush back and forth. Notice I'm not trying to get paint or water on the metal part. Brush care is part of this assignment. So you guys need to wash them really well afterwards. All right, so I have this little pile of red I've made right here. I'm just gonna borrow a little bit of black, okay? Now I'm making the shade. This is gonna be like a dark maroon color. So you wanna kind of mix. As you go into more advanced classes and you work with oils and stuff, you can use palette knives. Now, we don't want it to look black. We don't want it to be red. We want it to be a shade of red, dark red. So I'm going to mix. Okay. I don't want it to be streaky. Now, you can always do like a little test coat. We could go darker. This is a nice shade of red. Don't add too much water. You don't want this to be thin like watercolor. This is acrylic. Try to put your coats on as even and consistent. So even though we're practicing color blending, we want to practice good craftsmanship too, okay? I do notice that I have some shiny chunks on my red right here, so I'm going to smooth them out. Okay, so red violet. Let's think about what that looks like. We've got red, orange, red, violet, and violet, but we could go either direction. Now, if I have my red over here, I'm gonna borrow a little bit of that. Try and keep my palette nice and neat. Let's see how this blue mixes with the red. So red violet, that's a lot of red violet, or a lot of blue in my red violet. So I'm gonna kind of, there's a cool red and a warm red. Your teacher might give you both. So this is kind of a cool red, or I'm sorry, a warm red. The cool red has a little bit more blue in it. So this is making a violet-y type color. I'm having to use quite a bit of my palette to mix that up. Kind of looks like my red shade. A very dark violet with these colors. So if you have a different red, that will give you more of a truer violet. This is very much a blue violet, and if you're like, okay, it looks more blue violet, let's go ahead and put that down. It looks black. Let's put a little bit of white in there. Just gonna brighten it up a little bit. Really, we don't want it to be noticeable like a tint. I'm sure this looks very dark on the video, so if you are not confident in your color, then remix it. So I'm gonna definitely be doing some remixing. I might have to grab a warmer red or a cooler red. All right, so I'm gonna take my brush. I'm gonna go over here and try and mix up a violet. Borrow from here. See what the contrast is. If you miss a spot, you gotta go back and fix it, okay? Go back into my blue violet and remix that nice. Even at my edges. Okay. So I want to make a shade of my violet. So that means I need a little bit of white. Should be like a light purple color. You still have to mix, I made a shade of the violet. This is a tint of violet, excuse me. So then we also need a tint of red, and we need to mix our red violet. So we're gonna go back towards the red violet. This very much looks like a red violet. I'm gonna add more red to it. So it's not really red, it's not really violet. It's more of a red violet. We're gonna need a little bit more of this. Okay, mix my tint. Go ahead and take some of my pure red and some white and make my tint of red. It's going to be like a pink color. Let's go take a look at the blue violet. This blue violet we had over here. I'm going to clean my brush off. Blue violet tint. Reactivate that. It's very close there. Let's add some more blue. This is more of a blue violet tint. It's like blue and red and white. All right, so we can go ahead and move on to pure blue here. Oh, I gotta fix that shade over there. I'm just all over the place. Okay, I'm gonna finish this one completely and then correct this over there because I still have my colors available. So a tint of blue, just take a little bit of white, mix it up real nice. We want all of these to kind of be equal intensity. This one looks like it needs a little bit more white to match. Do not mix on your paper. Mix on your palette. Okay. Remember, keep it smooth, not chunky. Okay, so my violet, let's go back and reactivate this. This is very much a red violet, so I'm gonna get some blue, mix it in there, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of black. It really doesn't take much, these are so dark. Let's see. And it's a little too dominant. The black is very strong. You do not need a lot. So I'm going to take a little side pile, grab some blue, make my shade of violet. Looks very dark. These are really concentrated paints, but it's like a dark purple. Again, there's warm and cool reds that will give you different violets. This one is not the most ideal. Just depends on what your teacher has available. This is minimal. Okay, so let's do a shade of our blue. Grab a little bit of blue and a little bit of black, make like a navy color. Mix, mix, mix. Oops. Okay, now we have blue-green. We're gonna need to do a little bit of yellow, a little bit of blue. So I'm gonna take a little bit of blue over here. This will be my green area. I'm gonna take a hint of this yellow. I don't wanna contaminate all of it. Just mix, mix, mix. So blue-green, so not blue, not green, more of a blue-green. We've got aquamarine. Does that look blue-green enough? We can make a green and then decide if that's aquamarine enough. I think it looks nice. Okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of white, make my tent. All right, now it's time to mix our green. Okay, so A little bit of yellow and a little bit of blue. Need a yellow green too. So you're just going to have to experience it on your mixing palette. You can use this video as a reference, but it's really the same formulas as your color pencils, the 75-25 for the intermediate, 50-50 for secondary. Like our minty light green or tint. Let's see. I'm going really fast, so this video is not long, but you guys should pause and take your time. We need a shade of green. All right, so I'm gonna take my pure green over there and add a little bit of black to it. Mix up a little bit more. Like a dark forest green. Alright, headed to yellow green. I still have some blue green that I can add yellow to. Or let's see, yeah, right over here. Add some yellow and see what we can mix up. We don't want it to be green, we don't want it to be yellow, we want like a nice lime green. As you get lighter, these kind of mistakes will be harder to cover up. Where yellow is just a slightly weaker pigment. I went clockwise. You can go counterclockwise and do yellows first. But, you know, we're just getting our skills in here. Okay, we've got the yellow green. Let's steal a little bit of white and make a tint. Oh, is that red in there? We don't want that. Ew. Okay, so I'm not making brown. Nice little tint of yellow green. It's a pretty color. Ooh, dirty water. Might be time to get clean water. Headed towards this yellow over here. Sometimes having clean water is important. All right, so we've got pure yellow. I just grabbed a chunk of it. You know, proper painting etiquette would be to mix it up over here on your palette. I was so tempted to put it on there. Never mix on your paper. All right, yellow is extremely transparent, so get it on there nice and even. Little chunks. All right, let's make a shade and a tint of yellow. And then we're gonna mix neutrals in the middle for fun. Mix a little bit of white to make my tint. Okay, clean my brush off, get the white off so I can make a shade. All right, so let's get some, pure yellow over here. And then some black. Make a shade darker yellow. All right, there's our shade of yellow. Now we need yellow orange. Let's see if this palette is gonna make it to the end. I kind of want to flip my palette over. Okay, because I need the red, orange, and the yellow. I don't like to waste paint, so let's see what we can do here. All right, so yellow, orange. We need a little bit of red, and then we can add more to this yellow, orange, and get our orange. It's kind of a golden, it's always going to be a golden color. Don't worry about this line here. That's just from a defective copy machine a long time ago. I should Photoshop it out. Okay, so we have a yellow orange. I'm going to borrow a little bit of this yellow orange and try to grab a little bit of white to make my tint of yellow orange. All right, and then let's make 50-50 orange. I'm gonna grab red and just blend it up over here. And you know, it's so potent. We now have a red orange, which is totally fine. I need the red orange, so I'll just save some of it over here. And you know, is that fighting with my red? Does it have that kind of a poppy red look? Not like a scarlet red. I'd probably go more yellow in this red orange. But let's try and make an actual orange. Let's see what I can get. True orange, where are you? Mix, mix, mix. Now, it's nice that we did the yellow orange and the red orange, because now we can splat this one right between it and see how we feel. What do we think? Yay, I think we have a winner. Try and scrape up everything I got. Fill my box. Okay, we do need a tint and a shade. Let's see what we can take over here. That's probably plenty for a tint. I'm gonna put a little bit right here for a shade. All right, tint, we need white. Like a little sherbet ice cream color. All right, you know, I wonder if we can put a little bit of red in here and make our red-orange tint. What do you think? Does that work? Or is it, oh, look at that. That looks bad right there. Let's fix that. Just a little bit of orange was sticking out on the border. Okay, I think that works right there. We need an orange shade. Clean all the white off my brush, wipe it with a tissue. All right, so we've managed to make it almost to the end of this thing. All right, so with just this half sheet of palette and tiny little blobs of paint. All right, so let's see. We want an orange tint, so let's mix. It's gonna turn brown. It's probably not enough to fill the box. Let's see what happens. I don't want it to be super transparent. We want to go for a little bit of opacity on this because it's acrylic, meaning it's not super transparent like watercolor. All right, that's a somewhat decent shade of orange, but I feel like we could go a little darker. Let's see what happens. Is that too much? Yeah, maybe a little too much. Maybe if I'm careful. Not really getting anywhere with that, so I'm gonna leave it. All right, blue and orange. We gotta mix our complements. So, so much fun. I'm like, I need orange again. All right, so I've got a little bit of orange right here. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this blue. All right, we're gonna see what kind of neutral we get. This blue is so much stronger than the orange. So we don't want it to look aquamarine like that. That yellow and the orange is making it look green. So we gotta put more red in there because these are all browns, okay? So we have to remix. These are gonna look like different browns and I'll be able to tell. I'm not really winning right here. There we go, it's coming through. So it's a blue and an orange brown. It's got a very specific hue. That looks violet, but let's see. Add a little bit more yellow. All right, so blue and orange brown. We'll mix up a nice green before we put the red in it. Neutrals are really important because this is the degree of dullness the color will have. Should have already done one of those little exercises. Okay, so red and green, we've got a red right here that looks nice. We can put it next to our green. And then I will take, clean this off. I'm gonna make a nice green. Looks like I'm out of yellow, so I'm gonna get some yellow. The blue is strong, but let's get some yellow. Mix up a green. I don't think y'all can see the screen. There it is. Okay, so I am mixing up this green. And I'm gonna take some of my red. I'm gonna make my complementary red and green neutral. It's usually a darker brown. It's like an umber color. Like if you look at the tubes that they sell of brown or the titles they give them, it's like a dark umber. Each brown or neutral has its purpose. Deeper, darker brown. Oops, the red showed through it. Okay, I'm gonna clean this off. I need my yellow and violet brown. That's usually a lighter brown. All right, so I'm gonna take the yellow that I have, find a clean spot here. I've got to mix a violet up, just a tiny bit, nothing crazy. All right, I'm gonna put my yellow right there. Now I need blue and red to make a violet. And then I'm going to mix that with the yellow. There are other shades of violet that make beautiful browns that are great for mountains and things. This particular palette is different, but it will be with different warm and cool versions of paint. It's very much on the blue side. Do your best to mix your neutrals. Usually this is like a lighter creamy brown. Came out very dark with this particular red. Okay, this is your color wheel. Oops. Don't ruin it like that. It'll come off. Just clean it off. Okay? All right. Put your name on it. Make sure you save it. Place this in your sketchbook. Now, the most important part of the lesson we've come to is brush care. Okay? We don't want anyone getting their brushes ruined. Teachers probably will dock you for studio habits. You will need to thoroughly wash your brush. This brush is not 100% clean. Acrylic is a polymer. It will dry, and it's a plastic, so you have to wash your brush with soap and water. Take good care of your brushes. Very, very important. You must dump your water in the sink. This is your responsibility. There are to be no brushes left in the sink or trash at the end of class. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this color lesson. Thank you.